My name is Margaret Collins, and at 64 years old I never imagined I'd be told I didn't belong in the very house where I'd spent 35 years raising my family. My husband, Robert, had passed away 8 months earlier after a long battle with cancer. The silence he left behind was unbearable. Every corner of the house carried a memory. The kitchen where we danced while dinner burned. The living room where our son, Ethan, took his first steps. The backyard where we celebrated every birthday, every graduation, every Christmas. That house wasn't just wood and bricks. It was my entire life. After Robert died, Ethan insisted I shouldn't be alone. He said gently, "Emily and I will move in with you for a while." His wife, Emily, smiled sweetly. "We'll help take care of everything." I believed her. For the first few weeks, everything felt normal. Emily cooked dinner. Ethan handled the bills. I finally felt like I wasn't facing my grief alone. Then little things started changing. Emily redecorated the living room without asking. She packed away Robert's favorite chair because it made the room look old. She removed our family photos from the hallway and replaced them with modern artwork. "It's just a fresh start," she said. I stayed quiet. I told myself she was trying to help. Then she began treating me like a guest. She reorganized my kitchen. She decided what groceries would be bought. She even told me which bathroom I should use because the upstairs one is ours now. Every day I gave up another small piece of my home. Ethan noticed none of it, or maybe he simply didn't want to. One Saturday morning, Emily invited her friends over for brunch. Luxury decorations filled the dining room, fresh flowers, expensive candles, designer tableware. I came downstairs wearing my favorite blue sweater. Emily looked at me, then forced a smile. "Oh, I didn't know you'd be joining us." I froze. "This is my house," I replied quietly. She laughed. "Anymore," and that was the moment everything changed. Emily folded her arms. "I mean exactly what I said. Ethan and I live here now. We're trying to build our own family. You can't keep acting like you're in charge." I stared at her. "This house has been my home since before you graduated high school." She rolled her eyes. "Things change." Before I could answer, Ethan walked into the room. Perfect timing. "What's going on?" Emily immediately changed her tone. "Your mom keeps making me uncomfortable. Tried so hard to make this house feel like home. She keeps reminding me it's hers." Ethan sighed. He looked exhausted. "Mom, maybe just let Emily decorate however she wants." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "This isn't about decorations. It's about respect." Emily crossed her arms again. "If you respected us, you'd stop treating us like children." I looked directly at my son. "Ethan, do you really think I've done something wrong?" He hesitated just for a second, then he quietly said, "I think everyone needs a little space." Those words hurt more than I expected, not because he yelled, not because he was angry, because he didn't defend me. That afternoon I quietly went upstairs. When I came back down, I noticed something missing. Robert's large framed portrait, the one that had hung above the fireplace for 20 years, was gone. I searched the living room, nothing. Finally I found it, leaning against the garage wall, covered with dust. I carefully picked it up. My hands were shaking. Emily walked into the garage. "Oh, I was going to donate that." Stared at her in disbelief. "Donate my husband's picture?" She shrugged. "It doesn't match the new design." At that exact moment, something inside me changed. I stopped arguing. I stopped explaining. Instead, I quietly smiled. Emily looked confused. "Why are you smiling?" I gently placed Robert's portrait back in my car, then I looked straight into her eyes. "Because tomorrow, I'm going to remind you exactly whose home this is." Emily laughed. She honestly thought I was bluffing. She had no idea. Her name wasn't on a single document connected to that house. The next morning I woke up earlier than usual. I made coffee, sat on the back porch and waited. At exactly 9 o'clock. A black SUV pulled into the driveway, then another. Emily looked out the front window. "Who is that?" I calmly stood. "You'll see." A well-dressed man stepped out carrying a leather folder. Behind him was a real estate attorney and a property surveyor. Emily opened the front door. "Can I help you?" The attorney smiled politely. "We're here to meet Mrs. Margaret Collins." I walked forward. "Margaret." He shook my hand. "Good morning. Brought the original property records you requested." Emily frowned. "What property records?" The attorney opened the folder. "According to county records, this home is owned solely by Mrs. Margaret Collins. It has never been transferred to anyone else." Emily forced a laugh. "That's impossible. I'm Ethan's wife." Attorney nodded politely. "That doesn't change ownership. The deed lists only one owner, Mrs. Margaret Collins." Emily's smile disappeared just then. Ethan came downstairs. "Mom, what's happening?" I handed him the deed. He looked at it, then looked at me. "You never put Dad's name back on after refinancing." I shook my head. "We refinanced years ago, after your father passed. The house legally remained mine." Emily suddenly interrupted. "So what? We live here now." I looked at her calmly. "You told me yesterday I didn't belong in my own home." She stayed silent. "So today, I wanted to make one thing perfectly clear." I slowly walked into the living room. picked Robert's framed photograph off the floor where Emily had left it, placed it back above the fireplace, exactly where it had always been. Then I turned toward them. This house isn't just legally mine. It holds every memory your father and I built together. No one removes those memories while I'm still alive. Room fell completely silent for the first time since moving in. Emily had absolutely nothing to say. Ethan slowly lowered the deed. His hands were trembling. He looked at Emily, then at me for the first time in months. He finally saw what had been happening. Emily, you really tell my mother she didn't belong here? Emily opened her mouth. Nothing came out. It wasn't like that. I didn't interrupt. I had spent months defending myself. Today, the truth could speak for itself. Ethan walked over to the fireplace. He gently touched his father's photograph. I can't believe I let this happen. He looked at me. I'm sorry, Mom. I was trying so hard to keep the peace. I ended up hurting the one person who never stopped protecting me. Tears filled my eyes. I never wanted you to choose between your wife and your mother. I only wanted respect. Emily finally broke down. She sat on the couch and covered her face. I thought, if I controlled the house, I'd finally feel like it was my home. I looked at her quietly. A home isn't built by taking someone else's place. It's built by earning your own. Attorney packed away the documents. Before leaving, he smiled at me. Everything is legally protected, Mrs. Collins. No one can force you out. After they left, the house became silent again. Emily stood. Pack my things. Ethan looked shocked. You don't have to leave. She shook her head. I do. I forgot this was your mother's home long before it was ever mine. She turned toward me. I'm truly sorry. Can't undo what I said. I hope one day you'll forgive me. I nodded gently. I already forgive you. Forgiveness doesn't erase consequences. Emily moved into an apartment nearby for a few months. She and Ethan went to counseling. They slowly rebuilt their marriage. More importantly, she slowly rebuilt my trust. Months later, she came back carrying a framed family photo. It included Robert, me, Ethan, and herself. She smiled nervously. I thought this belonged above the fireplace. I looked at her for a long moment, then smiled. This time, you chose the right place. Now, whenever someone visits our home, the first thing they see isn't expensive furniture or modern decorations. It's Robert's photograph, still hanging exactly where it always belonged, because houses can be inherited, but a home is built on love, respect, and the people who refuse to let its memories disappear.